Hello, everyone. This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out at Night.
Oh, boy. Mostly.
You know, I don't even know what to say about this one. It's just there.
You know,
It's one of those there movies.
I don't know.
Like, it's not...
Sometimes you watch a movie, and here's the thing. I gave it a chance. I really did.
We gave it our best shot, okay?
I gave it a chance. I know that there are people who love this movie. It's like got a little bit of a cult following. I'm aware of all that.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, you know, we're not...
I tried.
We usually shit on movies, so it might happen, but...
I tried. But the way that the film is, like, constructed, it's like, you know, it's like if you're like a building inspector, and you're in charge of, like, a new building, and you walk inside, and the foundations are, like, crumbling and falling apart. That's how I felt about this.
Yeah.
It's like the foundations and, like, the actual structure of the film just doesn't...
Well, our whole process is to go in it blind. We try and, like, be totally subjective.
Yeah, I go into all of this...
Like, we're totally unbiased. It's
Yeah.
not like, you know, we have a friend that really enjoys this movie and recommended it to
or
us
someone
anything,
hates it and, like...
or told us, like, what happened
Yeah.
in it. We haven't watched any trailers. That's with every movie. And you should know that by now, obviously, if you've
It's
been
blind.
listening to us.
And
we go
specifically...
in totally blind, and it kind of creates that, like, oh, okay, so since we're watching it blind and reacting to it right after we watch it, those ideas are still fresh, and, like, we can actually give, like, a better view of how we felt about the movie. And I agree with you 100%. It's like going into, like, it's all nice and pristine on the outside, right? And you go in and just everything's, like...
It's falling apart. There's
falling
cracks in the
apart.
ceiling. The foundation's crumbling, like...
Now, it's not, like, completely demolished like other movies we've watched where it's, like,
No.
everything's falling apart. Like, there's, like, cockroaches and rats everywhere.
No.
Like, there's a meth head in the corner, like, speaking stories. There's, like, you know, half the roof is caved in already.
There's a dead body in the basement.
Yeah, it's not like that.
No.
It's
not...
just, you know, it's just crumbling and it might fall apart. And this movie, like, I don't get it because it was, like... They tried something, and then at the end, it just... I felt like they just, like, ran out of, like, how to end it. Like, they
Well, that's
they
like...
had no idea.
They knew... The way it felt for me was they knew how they were going to end the movie. They knew what the big fucking kaboom was going to be.
Maybe they didn't know, like, how to do the rest of the movie.
But it's like, okay, but you still need, like, an hour and 20 minutes of film until that ending.
Dude, it's so frustrating seeing these movies that have such a short runtime, and all they do is pad the movie out. That means they have, like, 20 minutes of good content, right? Well,
There's so much...
I say good content, but, like, that's for lack of a better word. But they have only, like, a few, like, hot spots they have to hit, right? And they have no idea how to fill in the rest of the movie.
But they did, Will. They filled it in with people walking around hallways,
People driving.
people looking out windows, and, like, really, really awkward scenes of, like, exposition.
Well, yeah, and then, like, cause the start... we watched Unhinged tonight. Not to be mistaken from the Russell Crowe movie
It's
that
the
just recently came out.
It's the 1982 Unhinged.
Now, if you're gonna go watch an Unhinged, just go watch that other one, because you'll have a better time, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
That's like a pretty well-made movie.
This is like I said, there are people who love this movie, so
Well, okay.
apparently...
Listen, I'll try...
You might be one of those people that you watch this movie and you have a fucking ball. And if you are...
There's people that think this is, like, kind of like an underrated horror film.
And, you know, I'm happy.
And I get it. I'm not going to try and shit on it too much, but I do have some problems.
Oh, I have a lot of problems with the movie.
Because it's like, I don't know. Like, we'll get into it. But, yeah, so the first, like, I don't even know, like...
Well, the first,
the first scene is a girl waking up, and
it's waking up to the sound of like a radio talking about taco time, and then it just like it's just her in the shower naked. So it opens with taco time and tits.
Well, and then like she gets in a car with her friend.
Oh no, she calls her mom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And her mom is like, I don't like you going out, blah blah blah, because she's gonna go out to a music festival with some friends.
Right.
And she's like, oh, it's fine, like we're gonna be safe. And then her friends pick her up.
And it's just like, I swear to God, it's like 2 solid minutes of them driving.
Well, it's not even 2 minutes. It's like 4 minutes.
Yeah,
they
just
drive
like helicopter shots. And
It's them driving across the bridge. They drive through the forest. We get like it's just like them talking, and like we hear a radio talking about like, oh, there's people are still searching for the 2 missing girls in the woods, and just keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going until eventually it's raining and they crash.
Yeah,
and it's just fucking cuts.
Well, it's maybe it was the quality of the film, but it's hard to tell. This movie, I'll just start by saying this. It's very like dark. Like a lot of the scenes are like set at night, which is shot at night, which you can appreciate, but there's like little to no lighting.
There's literally
whatsoever.
scenes where like I cannot tell you what's happening.
I don't know if it was the quality, but like I literally could not tell what was happening, and that irritates the hell out of me when a movie does that, where it's like it's such a dark scene and they have no even natural lighting.
Oh yeah.
That like even remotely shows you what's going on, but you're supposed to be reacting to something.
But you're supposed to be looking at something, yeah.
Like that's what I hate.
There's a lot of that.
But
they crash.
I think that's probably one of my biggest pet peeves in this entire movie is like how dark it is and how you can't see goddamn anything. But yeah, so they crash. They immediately wake up in a rural mansion.
One of our main character wakes up, and it's like there's like the one of the she's the daughter of the owner of the mansion.
Yes.
And there's like a handyman who rescued her, and
So
they just tell her like, oh, the rain's so bad that the roads are completely washed up, and
well,
like
it would take forever to get into town by road by like 3
there's
miles.
no phone here.
But if you want, you can cut through the forest. That would save you 1 mile.
Yeah.
And I guess like
it's a 2-mile walk.
But they say if you walk through the forest, you're gonna get lost.
It's dangerous.
And like it's dangerous and it's pretty rocky. It takes the better half of a day. Which
basically the whole point of the scene
I
is like
don't know if anyone's hiked 2 miles, but that does not take you the better part of a day.
in this universe,
forest it does. I don't know how they thought 2 miles was like a really like super long way, because they make it sound like it's like this just vast distance, and I'm like, it's 2 miles is okay, but you could like maybe do it in like, if it was rough terrain, you could probably do it in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. That's not the better half of the day. It's 2 miles. It's not 20 miles.
Are you picking on this movie for realism?
No, I'm just saying.
Do you think they care?
If you're gonna like create a distance between the city and the mansion, do more than 2 miles.
No, they didn't bother.
Even 3 miles down the safe road. 3 miles would maybe take you 3 hours if you were a really slow walker. Anyway,
should have just gone down the road. Honestly,
it's really nitpicky, but like just create a longer distance. Like make it seem like they're really far off the beaten path, not 2 miles off the beaten path.
Well, by the time this thing ended, I cared so little that like they could have said, "Oh, it's half a mile,"
so
and like my goop brain wouldn't have cared, because the whole point of the scene. I mean, and I get it. The whole point of the scene is just to tell us, the audience,
no, they're basically trapped.
Why the character can't leave.
I get it. It's exposition.
And it's fine. It's fine.
It's an explanation scene, which I fine.
This scene,
But
it's
maybe
fine.
maybe make it more believable.
It's fine.
But
The rain washed out the road, so there's no cars. Blah blah blah. Like it's gonna take a few days because, they say that like their mansion is like it's so far in the middle of nowhere that no one's gonna care.
Now, I do want to say this also. This is one of the few times on the podcast that I've actually been to this location where they filmed the entire movie. It's the Pittock Mansion in Portland, Oregon.
And it
it's
said,
like,
the reason, it said online that the reason that 90% of this movie is filmed at night is because that's the only time that they would let them film, because it's a museum in
well,
real
it's a
life.
museum, and I'm actually legitimately surprised they even let them film in these, because when I went there, they basically said that like you can't touch anything. It's like, a lot of it is like, I think a lot of it was like they had some furniture, but like what happened is like when they were selling the mansion, they like got rid of a bunch of the furniture, but then the museum has spent like countless hours trying to get back the original furniture that was in
Right.
the house, but they have to make it up with other furniture for the time being. But it was really surprising to see all those rooms because they only filmed in like, if you think about it, they only filmed in like maybe two or three of the rooms.
Well, yeah, all that they would give him access to.
Yeah,
And really, I mean,
which makes sense.
movie-wise, it's all they needed.
It's like but it's funny because when you watch the movie, it's like literally like most of the rooms they filmed in are the only ones you can actually walk into on the tour.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense.
And they told them, like, okay, you can use these rooms as you please, but only at night.
But yeah, so like it's one of those few times where you just are looking at it and you're like, wow, I've been to that place, and like
You can go there.
and when they say it's a rural mansion, it made me chuckle because Pittock Mansion is not rural. It's actually in like kind of like only a few miles from like the heart of Portland.
But if you haven't
Portland.
been there, would you know?
No, I mean you would never guess.
And there's not.
So it makes sense in the context of the movie, but it's just funny when you can like associate yourself and like how close you were to Portland.
And you've been there.
Yeah.
where the lovely film is filmed.
But there's
And,
a lot of woods around there, so I guess that makes sense.
But yeah, and they can't leave, so they're gonna have dinner. The two, like, because for some reason, there's three friends. One of them is like injured, so she's just laying in bed. And
Yeah,
then
so
two of them aren't.
They have this really awkward dinner, and they meet the owner of the mansion.
Who hates men.
And she hates men, and
She hates men because her husband was caught fucking an 8-year-old.
yeah.
And she hates men, and she also hates the daughter, her daughter, who
She
basically
just
takes care of her.
hates like everyone, and is only nice to the two guests.
And there's also like every time they have a dinner scene, there's like this weird thing where they still don't fucking explain what the deal with this
Well,
is.
they don't explain jack shit about the mother.
Well, because there's like these two like they look like shot glasses in front of her like dinner plate every time, and she starts like
She almost gets
hovering.
like hypnotized by them.
She starts like she's like hypnotized and like hovers her hands over the shot
And
glasses,
then she like snaps out of it.
and they keep playing like this spooky music, and
she like snaps out of it and goes back to eating, and like nothing happened. And the two friends are just
there's
like,
no. This happens twice in the film, and there's no explanation at all, zero. And it's fine. It's not fine.
it's, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I wish there was more. Because I wish there was more explanation or like something to give us like an insight on what the hell she's doing.
Yeah, because like
Because
it just happens, and then she stops.
But don't put those things in your movie if you're not going to at least like give little hints about what's going on. Like I don't care if they just tell us like right out the gate, like, okay, this is what's happening, right?
Right.
I think that's too much, but at least give us like hints so we can piece it together ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, like maybe one of the girls finds the two cups in like some special like
Some weird thing with it.
weird thing, or like an altar or something. I don't know.
Here's another thing that's worth mentioning. The acting in this is so amateur.
This whole movie just screams like amateur, like homebrew.
It's just,
Which is weird because they also have helicopter shots, and
have
they
helicopter
also
shots, yeah.
filmed at the Pittock Mansion. So there is some money thrown in here.
there's money to get helicopters, to rent a helicopter, and there's money to film at the mansion.
Yeah.
But obviously
That's about their budget.
there's no money for actual actors because the acting is just it's fucking grade school.
Oh, it's bad.
It's bad.
And everyone's bad in this movie.
But they have this like awkward ass dinner where the mom and the daughter fight about men, and the mom accuses the daughter of bringing men over.
One like calls her a whore and stuff.
Calls
like
her a
that.
slut,
Like,
yeah.
And
And
it's like Jesus Christ.
and then
It's
after that, it's like the two friends. They're just like in bed talking about how weird the dinner was, and all this stuff. And it's
well,
just
and then
like
they go to bed, and the woman is laying.
The main character-
The main character's laying in bed, and she starts hearing this weird like.
no. First,
Oh no! Yeah,
no.
you're
Okay,
right.
you
goes to the
skipped
door.
the whole scene. No, there's you skipped two scenes actually.
Did I?
Yeah, because
Shit,
they
sorry.
go to the fucking sitting room
Oh, you're sorry. My bad. The piano, the awkward like piano
where
scene
they
where
fucking
where the daughter's like playing a piano
and the
like,
mom is just kind of sitting there, and the
and
two
they-
girls are playing like baby Jenga.
Yeah, they're like on the carpet. It looks like one of those like cards, like where it's like the two kids are playing on the carpet, and then daddy's sitting on the chair, and mom is playing the piano. But it's instead of that, it's like this the
Dude, two
daughter
fucking
playing the
adults.
piano, and then two adults on the floor playing dominoes for no reason.
And they just and we get like this like
Well, they even dressed in like the same attire.
yeah, and they get like well we get this like shot of like someone breathing and walking, and then they walk up to the window, and it's just an uncle
And they
like
just stand there and then
walks away.
and they walk away.
and then like the next and then it's like okay that's a scene. It did like you watch this scene and like this scene starts and my face is just blank. It's just pure blank.
Well, it's supposed to be like really spooky, right? Which
but then the scene ends, and guess what? My face, it's still fucking
Well,
blank.
there's ways to make the scene scary.
Yeah,
Like there's ways to make him creepier.
yeah, like because here's the thing, like he
Like
moves.
I get it's like voyeuristic and he's like watching them, but he's just watching them like sit on this like
He's not even sitting. He's like leaning over the window
Like-
awkwardly.
he's watching them recreate this like old timey shit where they're just on the ground like cross-legged playing dominoes while the fucking daughter plays piano.
And again, it's a fucking uncle. Nothing scarier than an uncle, let me tell you.
Why do we get so many uncles? Like why are uncles like in horror movies
And that's
so
the thing.
threatening?
I'll get to like another one of my complaints later on, because they also mention later on like how his appearance can scare people, which yeah I'll get to that, because after this the main character is like sleeping in the room and she hears like a banging or something, and she goes to her window and we get the darkest fucking scene of her staring outside of her window at like the shed.
Like the lights turn on and we just see
We see a guy in a raincoat.
yeah, it is, but it's so far away that it's like it's so hard to tell
And it's just
what
like
is going on.
and they're ramping up the music, and you're just like watching it like
And I'm
Okay.
sorry for the people who
Cool.
like this movie, but I just don't get how this is scary or even like entertaining.
all I felt during all this is awkward. And
Like,
boy,
it's just awkward and it's like kind of cringy because it's just like they could have done so many things to make this scene like way creepier.
it's a guy in a raincoat.
Have him like dragging something to the shed or something like that. I don't know.
There
Do
you go.
anything.
You know,
But
like
it's just a guy running back and forth into a shed with a raincoat on.
yeah, have him dragging like a
I mean,
bag of something.
Sure, if I saw that at a random mansion, I'd be scared. But like in the movie, it's supposed to be a horror movie.
But would you even know if you saw that? It's so hard to see. Like
Like I wouldn't just assume that he like kills people.
yeah, it's here's the thing. Like in my head, like I know it's a guy in a raincoat, but it's like if you're just there, like it's raining, it could be the daughter in a raincoat.
Or like the groundskeeper.
Who fuck knows? But after this, she goes back to sleep, and then you hear the fucking breathing again. And
Well, like this is, oh my
and then it's
God,
just
the
like-
fucking breathing.
there's someone upstairs breathing.
It's so cringy. Like,
But then, like-
it's so cringe. I hate the breathing is so cringy because it starts as like, and then it gets, and then I shit you not, it turns into,
And and you're like, okay.
I was like, oh my god, okay. So you know what's happening, but
And then she goes to her friend and wakes her friend up and is like, basically is like, did you hear that?
I think he's like offing himself.
No, she said the
not
term,
offing himself. He's like
he's doing.
he's doing himself.
And then the friend's like, well, that's creepy. Like, I think we should go to the phone that's 2 miles away. And
she's like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna cross that treacherous
they
2 mile
2 mile hike, and they flip a coin. The friend's got to go, so she goes, and it's like, I mean, at this point, my brain's melting because like she's just walking through the woods. It's like the next day, fucking finally, she's just walking through the woods. And we get, like, some fucking just awkward-ass shots of her walking through the woods.
Yeah.
And then she crawls up this baby hill. I don't know why she crawls up. I honestly don't know.
I don't either.
It's like a baby hill. She just crawls up it. And then we just see, like, a guy standing there like a Grim Reaper with the raincoat on.
Scythe.
With the scythe. And he stabs her to death.
Yeah, and it's, like, supposed to be, like, all, like, graphic because there's, like, tons of fake blood spraying
and
everywhere.
her screaming, and it's fine.
And she like grabs the scythe and he draws it back and stabs her again. Then she rolls to the floor with blood all over her.
Spooky. And then
Although I love it because you can always see their throats moving.
It's they tried.
They did try, but they failed.
And then the main character is outside because someone tells her to get some firewood. I think the daughter tells her to get some firewood. And she goes outside and she sees the shed where the raincoat man went into. And she, like, slowly...
Like
everything in this movie is
right?
very slow. Like, she slowly walks to the shed.
Well, then she's, like, intercepted by the daughter.
She's about to open it.
The daughter's like,
no,
you don't want to go in there.
Because
like,
it's, like, dangerous. The foundation's bad. Like something else.
Like the start of this episode.
Like the whole movie.
Yep.
And then that's the scene. That's the scene.
Yeah, that's the scene.
We get a scene where she tells her, oh yeah, the friend went away, to call the phone.
And they have is this where they have the other awkward dinner?
This is where they have the tea session.
Oh, that's right. And she tells her about, like, I don't know.
She tells her what the dad did.
Yeah, like just how like horrible it's been staying with the mom after everything happened.
That she's trying to take care of the mom because of what the dad did, she hates all men.
Yeah.
And the mom keeps thinking that there's men in the house, and like,
it's
and then she tells her like, well, that's weird because I heard a man breathing, and she's like, oh, it's nonsense.
It's just an old creaky house that you didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything. Let's have more tea. And after this, they have another awkward dinner.
So, and the mom's like, we're missing one, aren't we? And like,
she's like, oh, the friend went away, and
blah blah blah.
Okay.
They just talk about weird shit. She does the weird thing with the 2 cups in the middle of the table, and then like just they
have an argument
her
again.
And the daughter get into a yelling match again, and then she's like, well, let's see if you can roll me into the piano area, and like we can see if my daughter will like play us a song. And so they do it again.
That's it.
It's the same thing with like one less person.
And
she's like still like kind of lounging on like just the floor while the daughter plays the piano. And the mom just awkwardly just sits there.
And then, like, we get a fucking scene where it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
The guy walks up to the window.
Even after that, we get this. We get the fucking breathing at night, and she walks upstairs.
After explaining it, I realized it's like just rinse, repeat.
You get it now.
It's so brain dead. They just did the same shit again, just with one less person.
That's what I mean. Like the construction of the film is busted. It's fucking busted. Like I can't do it. Because she goes to bed, and guess what? She hears the breathing again. And then she goes upstairs, and you think, like, oh, she's going to see some crazy shit.
Well, she finds, like, this room with, like, a baby chair in it.
With a baby chair and
she, like,
a bunch of shit I can't see because it's so dark.
She accidentally, like, knocks it over and, like...
Oh, don't forget, there's a gun in there.
Oh, yeah, she sees the gun, and, you know, this is their idea of foreshadowing.
Bro.
A gun and a machete right there.
Why?
So you know exactly what is going to happen in some part of the movie. And at this point in an hour and 20-minute movie, you're already like 50 minutes in, so you only have like 20 minutes left of
You're
the
already
movie.
like, okay, get on with it, because
Well, because like at this
one
point
death.
you just know what's going to happen at the end, because what else is there in an hour and 20-minute movie when you're 50 minutes into the movie?
Nothing.
There's literally no time to explain any other thing, except they do, because she knocks over the chair, knocks a bunch of trinkets onto the floor, picks them all up, and then sees a picture of two kids.
Of two boys, two like twins,
And then she's
and
like,
that's it.
gotcha.
Well, she doesn't even know. She's just like, okay, that's weird.
Well, she shows it to the daughter, and the daughter says, like, starts explaining how she had a brother.
She had a brother, and he's special.
Well, yeah, and like the mother couldn't stand,
because she hates men,
and she's
so
like was gonna.
she takes care of the brother,
and hides the brother away from the mother.
But the brother is, and because of his condition, he scares people by his looks. Now again,
but it's just he just looks like
it's
an uncle.
Like
just like a dirty uncle, like a hobo uncle.
Any movie. Here's the thing: you're gonna have that line in your movie, your horror movie, about how someone's appearance frightens people. Put on, I don't know, do some horror makeup, do something, because it's an uncle. It's an uncle.
Give him like a gnarly scar or something.
It's an uncle with a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it is. What's so scary?
So, let's see what happens next. So the daughter explains that there's the brother, and then
it's bedtime again.
It's bedtime.
Oh no, it's the next fucking. Oh, so by the way, like it's the next day now. We've already had a scene where. Oh yeah, she God, she talks to the fucking girl who's been bedridden.
Is this where it goes like 0 to 100?
Yeah, because
like so little time left.
No, okay, so she goes. She talks to the like groundskeeper guy,
right,
and tells him like, "Oh yeah, like the other friend is gone because she went to the phone," and that's when the guy's like, "Oh, that's
why'd she do
that's a
that?
bad idea.
That's a really bad idea."
Like there's been girls that have went missing here, and that scene ends.
Why wouldn't he tell them that before?
I don't know, dude. And then she's also like, "Oh yeah, I heard that on the radio." And then the next scene, she goes to the bedridden woman and is like, "Hey, there's like I got something to tell you." And then the scene just fucking like. We just see the guy peering through a peephole. So you don't actually hear what she says, and then literally black screen, POV, and it's the thing like carrying an axe, and he kills the friend.
And just like lodges it in her head.
And then that's it.
And then and then
it's like nighttime or whatever. Yeah, it's nighttime.
And of course, like I said, 15 minutes left in the movie, so they have to just get it going.
They literally do.
Finally, they're like, "Oh shit, we have a movie to finish." Oh crap!
Because the friend's like looking for the girl, whatever, and she goes.
She starts going to the shed, and the guy, like the brother,
he's in the bushes.
He like appears, and she gets all freaked out, so she goes in the shed and like locks the door, and then
there's a scene in this where she walks next to a window.
Well, yeah, so he locks the door, he's banging on the door, and she goes next to the window, and it's so cringe.
The guy,
it's so awkward,
like pops through the window, and they don't even put like the glass.
They don't have a sound effect or anything. It's like silent. Like it's just the music.
Yeah, it's just him like busting through.
And it's so awkward because it's like, why wouldn't you have a glass break?
Well, I assure you, this is not the most awkward part.
Yeah,
because
she falls back and it goes into this like slow-mo scene.
It's like it doesn't look like slow-mo. It looks like the fucking film is broken. It's like, do you remember when like dial-up was a thing and you'd like have to load pictures and it would load like...
It looks like, what, choppy, I guess?
Yeah, it's like choppy.
Choppy is the best way I can explain it, because it's like, it's not quite slow-mo, but it's like if you like put something to like 1.5.
Yeah.
Like that's like a 0.5 like downgrade in speed.
That's what it looks like. And she falls into like a pile of like body parts, and there's dead bodies, and there's a jar of something that falls
Well,
over,
I
and
get,
it's
like,
so
the
dark
dead.
you can't see.
I can't see most of the shit, so I'm sure like they spent a lot of time on this set. And for me to not see jack shit because it's like so dark that I'm just like, okay, cool. I know she's in a pit of bodies, but other than that, I have no fucking idea. She
It's
looks at something in a gown. I'm guessing it's her friend.
I'm
I
guessing.
still have no idea.
I don't know, but either
I'm
way,
pretty sure it is, but
we just know that there's bodies and body parts, and
and
then
she like runs out. He
she's-
gives chase.
she's chased by him.
She like goes up the stairs.
Goes
He's
up to
still-
the attic.
She grabs the gun and pops him in the head.
He
And
dies.
He dies, and then
The sister shows up.
Yeah, the sister shows up and is like, "What have you done? I can't believe you've done this." And then
He was just trying to play, and she's just like, "Oh, was he playing like with that like what's in the shed?"
he's like,
And then she has like
"Oh my god!" And then the fucking sister looks up and is like, "Everything was going so well."
she took like man voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like man voice, just like okay, okay, it's two boys.
there's I was gonna talk about this on the podcast, but I'm not gonna spoil the other film. But let's just say that there is a film that we are gonna watch on here in 1983 that has a very similar twist at the end.
Yeah,
About a slasher, but it's a million times better.
oh, like,
Because I get it.
Dude.
Like they did the big twist that the sister's actually a man. I still don't quite get it because I mean,
I have theories, but we'll finish the movie off and
Yeah.
then I'll give my theories.
because she does the big reveal and then she starts
And she like just starts wailing on this girl with like a machete.
with a machete and like talking about how hard it's been to like take care of everybody
Like,
and how much
dare she? I thought you would believe me. I thought you would understand.
and how like he hates women and like all this stuff, and then the main character's dead, and then the fucking mom is just like Maria, what are you talking to someone?
Do you have a man up there?
And then switches back to the woman voice. No, mom, I'll be right there. End movie.
Yep.
That's the film. What's your theory? I'm genuinely curious because I don't
so
fucking
my
know.
theory, and I think I know what's going on, and maybe this is why people like it, but they don't explain this really, because I was kind of piecing it together. I'm thinking what happened, and if any fans of the film can tell me this is what happened, maybe. So I'm thinking what happened is the dad raped the little boy, the other brother, and that's why he's all magoo and crazy and wacko. And
Your
then,
theory would actually make the movie better.
And then the mom got so upset and mortified and horrified that she just like swore off all men.
Yeah.
So to be accepted, the other son had to become a woman and like play along as a woman, because if she didn't, the mom would like disown him.
See, my question in this case is, was there ever a baby girl or no?
I don't think there was, because remember she picks up the photo and there's only two boys.
Because I'm assuming what they're implying is the mom is so senile that she doesn't know that she never had a daughter.
Right, but she also hates men,
Yeah.
so
She's
know,
still like
if it was-
unconsciously taking out
if it was her
hatred.
if it was her son,
Yeah.
she would still be taking out that hatred. I mean, she hates
She
her
kind of
daughter.
is,
She
yeah.
hates her daughter, but if it was a boy, she
Yeah.
hated it even more.
See,
and
the first part of that theory there would make the film.
Well, because they give it that dark, and I think that's kind of what's going on. Maybe, but it's not like they don't imply it hard enough to
No.
like confirm that's what's actually happening. If anyone can answer me if there's like maybe a tidbit we missed in the movie where they do explain that, I don't know, but I think that's kind of why the mom hates men so much.
Yeah.
And if that's true, that kind of gives a better like tone to the movie.
Yeah.
But like in a movie where like almost nothing happens, you pad it out, and you're gonna do a dark subject like a man like raping an 8-year-old boy. That's a pretty fucking heavy subject to like throw in this like random like hour and 20-minute movie.
You know, it's I appreciate that because honestly, there's so little.
There's like almost nothing going on in this movie. Like there's things obviously that are happening, but there's not. The pacing is like it grinds to a halt after each kill.
Each kill. Okay, so here's the thing. In the first, there's one kill in the within the first like 40, 50 minutes. And trust me, once that kill comes, you're just like, oh, things are happening. And then it fucking grinds to another halt. And then there's the ending, and then you get 3 deaths.
It's just kind of I mean, it's kind of a chore to watch. I'm not gonna lie. There's not enough going. There's not enough things like big, like monumental things happening on the screen to keep your interest.
There's not enough to latch onto for me.
Well, it's like,
and it's like I get like you could argue, oh, it's a slow burn, but it's just like there's nothing under the surface.
I know it's probably a slow burn. People would argue that, but the payoff's not worth it.
No,
like there's like really good slow burn movies that are totally worth the wait, right? Like you can.
Well, even that, like even with the slow burn, you can still have good like character development.
Here's the problem: it's an hour and 20 minutes, and it felt like it was longer.
It feels like an entire hour.
You don't want a movie that feels like it's longer than it actually is. What you want is a movie that feels short.
Like even the ending, when you get the big reveal, and he's stabbing her to death. It's like a fucking minute-long monologue, and it's just like it's so good at representing like my issues, because it's like. Again, you know what movie I'm referring to when I'm talking about, like, the slasher with a similar twist. Okay?
I think a lot of people could probably even, like, surmise what you're trying to get at.
But here's the thing. That film, which we'll get to at one point, once they reveal the twist in that film, there is no dialogue.
Yeah.
It's all in your head. Like, your head is, like, processing it all. And it's like...
Which is a great way to do it.
And it just ends. But in this, it's like... We don't need a minute-long monologue because it's like...
Well, think about it. Even
it's cringe.
Classic example, Psycho.
Yeah.
Think about it. They reveal Norman Bates as the mother, like, at the very, very end of the movie.
Yeah.
And, like it confirms that he was playing the mom at the end, and he just smiles and it ends.
Yeah.
Perfect way to end that movie, because, like, when she figures out that the mom is actually dead, you're already piecing it together. Yeah. And then Alfred Hitchcock is just like, yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah.
You know, the mom's dead.
But it's like, once you throw in like a minute-long monologue, it just becomes cringe. For me.
Why? Okay, so...
It's cringe.
Even in the context of this movie, why on earth would just some random dude be monologuing to a dead body that he's stabbing multiple times?
You know why? Because cliche movie shit. Again, it's cringe. You don't need it.
It's nonsensical. There's nothing going on.
Here's the thing. It's the difference between, like, amateur hour filmmaking and not. Because if you're doing an amateur hour movie, that's what you do. Is your villain, when they're murdering somebody and that person's dead, they're monologuing.
It's like an exposition. It's like an excuse for an exhibition. Like...
It's like, oh, the audience is stupid, so I need to, like...
Here's an explanation on what's going on.
On my beautiful script. And it's like, we don't need it.
And, like, the thing is, like, okay, there's fans of this movie. It's boring. It's so boring. There's so little, like, exciting things happening on screen in a horror movie that I'm just, like, I just lost interest almost immediately. After the first 20 minutes where nothing happens, I was just like, okay, you've lost me completely.
See, like, for me, it was like, okay, I'm handling it. We get to the dinner scene, and it's, like, awkward, and they do that weird thing with, like, the glasses, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it's just, like, there's, like, the nighttime where it's, like, she hears the breathing, and it's, like, okay, I guess. But then once, like, the next part of the movie comes along, and they just literally repeat scenes, I'm just like... Okay, I'm checked out. Like, I was checked out.
Like, I recently watched actually a really decent movie called The House of the Devil.
Great movie.
that's a good example of like a slow burn, right? Because it's about a babysitter. Like she starts hearing weird shit in the house. There's like a mother that like no one can see, and then like at a certain point, like just a random character that you had no idea was like still around, like gets like just murdered like out of nowhere, and then everything just fucking like flies off the handle. Like that's how you do a slow burn. Like you like build up enough tension where you get the main character like paranoid enough to like start believing like something is going on, and then you have your big like ball drop moment, right? Where you
One
just,
of the
like,
problem is the acting is so amateur hour that like none of that even.
well, it doesn't work because it's not convincing.
Like no one in the film seems like they're suffering.
We've seen in this podcast like okayish actors be convincing enough to make us like entertained and like actually believe that like
the film works.
This is pretty like horrific what's going on. But no, this one is just like it's so like
it's baby shit.
It's I don't know. I'm really I just it's boring.
That's it.
That's it. That's
at
all
the end
I
of the
can
day,
say
it's
about
boring.
the movie. It's just boring. Like it's just like it's not necessarily like a movie I would like shit on and say like it's the worst movie I've ever seen.
No, not even close.
Not even close to that. But like it's just it's not worth watching in my opinion.
No. I mean, listen, you can watch it and you might be one of the people who likes it, or because I think that's one of the things is I think this will be a movie that either you are one of those people who sees the value in it, or you're going to be like us.
I don't think there's an in between here. I
and
think
you'll
it's
just
either
think it's
you
fucking
really
boring.
like you love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say hate because I didn't hate the movie, but it was just boring. I wouldn't watch it again.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't say I like loathe it. Like it's not like this movie is the fucking worst movie I've ever seen. No, absolutely not.
It's just disappointing.
Like what would you rate this Shitty to Pretty? Like
I'd give it a 3.
Dude, me too. I was thinking 2, but it's actually not worthy of a 2 because like it's not a too bad. It's not.
No, it's not. It's not that bottom of the barrel, but it's. I'm not gonna lie.
It got close sometimes because like they were like borderline. Like they almost lost me because it takes a long fucking time for anything to happen.
For anything exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, I give it a 3. I can't. I don't know. It's just disappointing. It's a disappointing movie, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if you like it. I'm not going to judge you, but like I just did not connect with this movie at all.
Not for me.
This is not for me.
Not even close.
I'll go watch other good slow burns.
There's a billion of them.
There's a billion good slow burns that you could watch instead of this. Also, I will mention, please go watch House of the Devil if you haven't seen it. If you even if you like this movie, I think it's a good slow burn that a lot of people will like.
Highly recommend.
Because I just recently watched it, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Don't forget to please...
Oh, yes, we forgot to shill at the beginning.
We'll shill at the end now. Please follow and subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
We're on YouTube at the Mostly Coming Out at Night podcast. You'll see our little logo there. Go ahead and subscribe. You can even ring the bell, and you'll get notified immediately when new episodes come out.
And then whatever, if you listen to the podcast on Spotify or anything like that.
Our RSS feed is just like
everywhere.
Blasting like our podcast everywhere. It's fucking everywhere.
So wherever you listen, follow us.
Yeah.
We have a subreddit if you feel like joining it. Just look us. They Mostly Come Out at Night podcast. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it.
That's all I got, honestly.
Yeah, that's all I got. I mean, yeah, that was it.
That's it, right, and it's still shorter than the movie. Easy.
Yep, easy. We didn't have to pad it out too much, unlike the movie.
Unlike the film, we were efficient.
We are efficient, more efficient than that movie. For They Mostly Come Out at Night, this has been Will.
This has been Alex.
And we'll talk to you all later.
Bye. I'm gonna go fucking do myself now, Will.
Damn, I'm gonna go do myself and then go get some fucking Taco Bell.
Taco time.
My bad.
Excuse me.
Taco time. I want a crispy burrito, dude.